Welcome to Allie's Attic, where you never know what kind of surprise you'll find in my attic. I'm your host, Allie, and today my surprise is the vocalist and rhythm guitarist of an amazing band called Evernia. Please welcome Jake Thacker. Hi, Jake.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm awesome. Now, you guys formed in 2011. I'm just going to name the rest of the band, just so everybody knows who's in it.
Okay.
So you are lead vocals and rhythm guitar.
Mhm.
Tristan Middleton is lead guitar and vocals.
Right.
And there's three of you, is there not?
Yes.
Who is the third one?
Chase Smither. He's new. He's been with us for probably about 3 months. He's drums and percussion.
Okay. Okay. And you are a acoustic rock project, and that's the music that you play, and I love it, by the way. It's very, I can't even describe it. It just, your songwriting, whoever is writing the songs, and I'm assuming that is you.
Uh, Most of them that have been put online or on YouTube are my songs. Tristan and I, we usually write together, but most of the ones that are on the internet right now are ones that I wrote by myself.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. They're amazing. Just wanted to say
Thank
that.
you.
Now, there's another backstory to you guys. You guys all do something for a living um, that is amazing. You're all heroes. Tell me a bit about that.
Well, all three of us are actually firefighters, volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're volunteer, we all have another job, and then we work full time as a volunteer firefighter, and then full time putting, in the band.
Wow.
And
That's crazy.
Tristan, the guitarist, is currently stationed in North Carolina. He's in the Marine Corps.
Wow.
And Chase and I are volunteer firefighters. Chase is still in high school, and I'm an automotive mechanic.
Wow. That's, I don't think people realize independent artists have to have two jobs, their music and a job that brings in money. Because as we all know, independent artists don't make a heck of a lot of money. Um, I love what you do for your country and wherever you guys live, for your hometown. Being volunteer firefighters, that is amazing. Now, basically tell me your story, Jake, like when you started getting interested in music. I mean, we don't have Tristan with us to talk about, or him to talk about his life, but tell me about yours.
Well, I grew up I'm still living in a rural area.
Mm-hmm.
And the area that I'm in, if you turn on the radio, you don't hear anything but classic rock or modern country. And I love classic rock. Modern country, I'm not very well invested in. I like some of it. I grew up with that background and listened to a lot of gospel and everything. And my aunt, I have two aunts. My Aunt Michelle always listened to Soundgarden, Stained, Pearl Jam, Seether, and that was kind of where I started branching out, finding different music.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom bought me the Def Leppard Greatest Hits album, and I played that thing until it was just trash. Like it wouldn't play anymore. And immediately after that, my first album that I got myself was the American Idiot album by Green Day.
Yeah.
And I listened to it, and I was obsessed with it. And I just started collecting. I started listening to Nickelback and Seether and all sorts of other bands. And I was content with just being a fan until 2007 when my other aunt, the youngest of three sisters, passed.
Ew.
And she was the youngest, me and her did a walk together.
Mm-hmm.
We, it was nothing for 3 o'clock in the morning, her to just come pick me up and go to Taco Bell.
Oh, wow.
And I was so close to her, actually, that I actually called her Sissy. And she had a 3-week-old son and a 3-year-old daughter when she passed.
Oh, my goodness.
And that floored me. And I was angry for a long time, years. And Tristan kind of has a bit of a similar story. I'm not going to speak for him, but because we've not really talked about it much, but I've kind of gathered that, like I said, he has a similar story because around this same time period, his sister passed.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so sorry for both of your losses. That is so sad.
And, well, I was angry, and I was at the point where I would scream at my mom for no reason, and which she knew, and because that was her sister, and she was the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I went on like that for 4 years, and I was miserable.
Yeah.
And sometime around 2010, I had watched Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash movie with Joaquin Phoenix
yes.
and Reese Witherspoon.
Great movie.
And, I love that movie. I can sit down and watch it
over
2 or 3 times in a row.
Same with me.
But he gets up on stage at one point in the movie, and he plays... I can't remember what song he plays, but I fell in love with that song. It's the first time I ever heard it.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched him play guitar, and I was like, that looks so easy. So I decided that I was going to learn guitar. Well, I got a cheap guitar from a department store, and I didn't even know how to tune it. Mm-hmm. And I taught myself with the booklet that came with the guitar. Taught myself how to play guitar and learn the chord formations and shapes on a guitar that was out of tune. And looking back at it, it's funny because I knew how to transition between chords. My rhythm was improving, but I still didn't know how to tune it. And I got discouraged because I was like, man, this sounds awful. Like, I'm never going to be able to learn. And finally, I learned how to tune a guitar, and I played it. The same songs that I had been playing, I was like, wait a minute, this actually sounds halfway decent. So that kind of gave me a pick-me-up to, continue learning. Mm-hmm. And in 2011, I was in high school. I was a freshman in high school, and Tristan was in 8th grade. And we just started hanging out a lot more than what we usually did. And up until then, we didn't really talk about music. I knew he played guitar. He knew I played guitar, but we didn't really talk about it. And one day, he just mentions Nirvana. And both of us are massive Nirvana fans. Mm-hmm. And I was like, these bands? Like, I never knew that he knew this music. The reason we never talked about it. And we just started picking guitar together a little bit, and it kind of rolled on from there. We mainly played covers, mm-hmm. and did really crappy covers of big songs for a year or two, and then I can't remember if it was me or him, but we were like, hey, let's start writing together and actually make our own songs. And I didn't know this, but he had been writing for years prior to this, and this was around 2012 or 13. Mm-hmm. He had been writing for years, and I had been too, and we had like 30 songs that we had written.
Wow.
That, neither one of us knew about, and we were just learning to kind of write, so they weren't great, but they did well for us because it allowed us to play together and learn how each other plays and how each other writes. And when we play together, I know how to accent his lead, and he knows how to accent my rhythm, and our vocals mix well together. And in 2014, I was a senior in high school. He was a junior. And I was getting ready to move off to Nashville for college. I live in Kentucky, but both of us do. And we decided to cut a 4-track EP just to say we did it. You know, we never really intended on going anywhere or, you know, putting our music out there. We just wanted to cut an EP. That way, years down the line, when we have kids, we can be like, you know, hey, we did this one time. Well, we went and we cut a 4-track EP with a local guy named Carl. He's amazing. He's a musician himself, and so when we went in, the air felt right, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He even played a few licks on the guitar for us and everything, and he would suggest things, but he wouldn't push us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, producers, you know, which I've not worked with a lot of, but I've heard from people or even around me, that producers will push, you know, their kind of sound. That way they can stick to a certain sound. That way they can get more people interested in them.
Well, yeah, they think that if it sounds like what's, you know, the number one song on the radio right now, then they're on the right track, and that's so wrong.
Right. Well, Carl wasn't like that. At the time, he was playing in 3 bands, and we cut the 4-track EP, and one of the songs was "I Sit Alone." That is actually, I re-recorded a basic demo a few months ago, and it's on YouTube. But the version of "I Sit Alone" that we cut on the EP and the one that's on YouTube right now are 2 completely different songs.
Wow.
The original one was more of a lost love, kind of almost cheesy type of song. And the new one is actually written from the family perspective of a woman who goes out, gets involved with the wrong crowd, and ultimately commits suicide.
Oh.
And I don't know what caused me to rewrite the song. I was just sitting at the house one day and going through this back catalog of songs that we had, because we were trying to compile a track list for Roses for Emily. And I ran into this song, and I remember how we kind of came about writing it, and something, even when we wrote it the first time, just didn't feel like it was the song we were meant to write. So I sat down, and I rewrote it in about 20 minutes, and I had never written a song up until that point that while I was writing it, I was getting emotional.
Wow.
And, which I had wrote, you know, when you write from personal experience, there's always a layer of emotion, but this one, it was just something different. And I sat down at a computer, and I didn't even have any equipment or anything. I just sat down with the Audacity app on my computer and recorded the demo. And it was thunderstorming outside, and it was, you know, just awful. There was no electric on in the house, and when you listen to the song, when I start into the first chorus, if you listen, you can hear thunder in the background rumbling. And I was like, at first I was like, man, I gotta start over, do a retake. But something told me to just keep going, and then when I re-listened to it, it actually fit the song well.
Wow.
But
it was like it was meant to be.
Yeah. And actually 3 of the 4 tracks on the EP are going to be on the Roses for Emily album. Burn, Not That Man, and I Sit Alone.
And that's off just so everybody knows, it's entitled The Poet and the Pen.
Yes.
And it was Metal Shed Records, which is your friend that helped produce it. Okay.
And the story about Metal Shed Records is, when we went in, he didn't have a name, for his studio.
Mm-hmm.
And the recording studio is in a 20 by 20 metal shed that he built himself. Mm-hmm. So that's where we kind of coined the name from.
Okay, I like that. I kind of figured it was going to be in a metal shed.
Yeah.
So then, once you had those 4 songs, which people are going to be able to hear on Roses for Emily, you guys kind of disbanded temporarily.
Yes, I had moved off to college, and Tristan had to stay because he was still in high school. And I lived in Nashville for 13 months. It was a trade school I went to. It was I went for heavy equipment mechanicing, pretty much.
Okay.
And I had thought about, doing some solo work, kind of dipping into the singer-songwriter, country/blues type feel while I was in Nashville. But looking back at it, Nashville's a music city.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't write anything. Even being in that environment where there's music all around you, I couldn't write anything. I would start a song and I would get three or four words in, or even sentences, and I just couldn't think. I had writer's block for almost 2 years.
Wow.
And it took me moving back home and being around Tristan for me to finally break my writer's block, which kind of told me, hey, this is the guy that you need to write with.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can be in Music City and not be able to write music, but be back home with your band and be able to write music, and I got to the point where I was writing so much that the songs weren't finished, but I was writing 10 or 12 songs a week.
Holy.
And even now on my phone, and I have 3 notebooks at the house, I have probably 70 or 80 songs that I had written since 2015.
Wow. That is wow. All these things that are like divine, and you know what I mean? Like divine intervention, things that are supposed to happen.
Right.
That is very cool. So you reunited in October of 2015, and you began working on your first full-length album, which is Roses for Emily, and it's going to be released October 31st, 2018?
Yes.
Okay. Now, talk about Roses for Emily. Like, where did you get the name Roses for Emily?
Roses for Emily is based, the song and the album title is based on a short story by William Faulkner called A Rose for Emily, in which a woman, she falls in love with this man, and the man passes. And after the man passes, she barricades herself in her home, and she lives there for like 20 years, and the young kids think she's a witch, because she's so secluded. She's living in this, creepy, mansion-type home, and she ultimately dies, and when the coroner goes in to recover her body, they find that the remains of her lover are actually still in the bed with her. She had kept his remains for 20 years.
Oh, my goodness.
So the song Roses for Emily I wrote from her perspective, because the short story, for the most part, is from the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
So I wrote it from her perspective of her being locked away and secluding herself to be with this man that she loves so much.
Wow. I've never heard of this story, but that's a strong love.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, so now we know where the name came from. Now you're also releasing demos of songs, and all of them are going to make appearances on Roses for Emily. Talk a bit about that album and any other news that you have coming up.
Roses for Emily, like you had said, will be released on Halloween of next year.
Mm-hmm.
The album is all acoustic. All of the songs, we've not posted demos of all of them, but all of the songs are either melodic or have a real deep driving sound to them.
Mm-hmm.
The collection of songs don't have anything to do with the Roses for Emily story. They vary between, like I said, I Said Alone, that deals with suicide, or Unburdened, which is about a man who basically has a Christ complex that feels like he is better than everyone.
Yeah, okay.
So the collection of songs vary. On Halloween of next year, there'll be 3 ways that you can get the album.
Okay.
There will be a standard edition with 12 tracks. The track list is posted on our Twitter and Instagram page. The deluxe edition will have 5 additional tracks, making it a 17-track album. And the super deluxe edition will have the 17 tracks deluxe edition plus an Allie's Attic Show exclusive acoustic live performance of 11 tracks.
Wow. So it's, okay, wait. Let me get this. It's going to be called Allie's Attic Allie's Attic Show exclusive. Sorry, I can't even get the name right. I don't even know the name of my show anymore. You just stunned me. So that's going to be separate?
That will come with the super deluxe edition.
Okay.
Anyone who buys the super deluxe edition, the profit from all of those units sold, not just the Allie's Attic album in itself, but the Roses for Emily album, all the profits will go to your GoFundMe account.
Oh my God, Jake. Told you you're going to make me cry. Damn it.
Also, we have a track list set for the Allie's Attic Show exclusive. There will be 4 tracks that will be featured on our second album that we're already working on and have the songs written. We just have to record them. The second album will kind of jump away from the Roses for Emily feel. It's going to be all electric. We're plugging in distorted guitars, whatnot. A real driving rock album.
Mm-hmm.
There will be, a few acoustic songs that kind of fits the mold of our sound as of right now, but the whole album, everything that's been written for the second album is very different from the Roses for Emily track list.
Okay.
Mainly being Roses for Emily, at least the songs that I have written for it, I wrote from a third person's perspective of being a fly on the wall and watching things unfold. The second album, which will be called We Walk in Circles, is very personal. It's all my story, Tristans' story, Chase's story.
Okay.
But kind of going back to where I had started, there will be 11 tracks on the Allie's Attic exclusive.
I still can't believe I'm blown away. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
The final track will be a cover that we've already paid royalties on of The Chain by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh my God, it's my favorite band. I wanted to be Stevie Nicks when I grew up.
I love Fleetwood Mac.
Uh-huh. Wow.
But we're going to do that one very stripped down. It's going to be just 2 guitars, and we're not even going to have a drum kit. We're going to have a cajon. It's going to be very stripped, melodic in points, and loud in other points. We're giving it a Evernia take on the original song. I just hope that we can do it justice, because The Chain is one of my favorite songs, and anybody who does covers of songs know that there are some songs that's better left untouched.
Yeah.
For me, anything by Elvis. I would love to do an Elvis cover, but I just know that I wouldn't be able to do it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so I'm still okay. Whoops, I'm hitting things again. So it's going to be called We Walk in Circles, right?
Yes.
Okay, and that song is going to be on that album or EP.
The Chain will not. The only way you can get the cover of The Chain is if they purchase the Alley's Attic exclusive.
Wow.
4 of the tracks from the Alley's Attic exclusive will be on We Walk in Circles, though.
Okay.
So if anyone gets the Alley's Attic exclusive, they will be hearing these songs for the first time.
Wow. I'm still like so blown away by an album EP called Alley's Attic Exclusive. Like, what an honor, Jake. Like, holy crap. And then one of my favorite songs from one of my favorite bands you're doing. Holy shit. Sorry, I'm just a little crazy right now. Okay. Wow. And what other song, like you had talked about writing some new songs that are very, very emotional, that aren't like you would normally write.
Some of the songs are that kind of have the more emotional feel to them. They've been written at least in the last 3 months.
Okay.
One is titled Reckless, and I wrote it actually the day before yesterday. And going back to what I was talking about, I Said Alone, getting emotional.
Mm-hmm.
When I wrote Reckless, I was more tore up than when I wrote I Said Alone.
Wow.
Reason being is, when I wrote I Said Alone, see, I've never had to deal with anyone that I know committing suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a traumatic experience for the family, the friends, and just the dynamic of writing something like that made me emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But Reckless was very much completely personal. So I connected with that song on a level that I had never connected before. And I recorded a small demo of it, like I talked about with I Said Alone, at the computer, and sent it to Tristan. And he said that it was one of the most profound songs that I had written. Said it gave him chills, you know. And when I wrote it, I had listened to your Alley's interview on your YouTube page, and I had you in mind when I wrote it. But
oh my God.
I wrote it in such a way that it was very broad, meaning that I can connect with it, you can connect with it, anyone can connect with it.
Mm-hmm. And wow. Okay. So in 2018, when Roses for Emily comes out, this is when there's going to be 2 albums out then?
Just the Roses for Emily and Allie's Attic exclusive.
Okay.
We Walk in Circles, we don't have a set date for it yet. It could possibly even be 2 years after.
Okay.
Because where Tristans in the Marines, we gave ourselves enough time with Roses for Emily because we've been working on it for years already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And whenever he comes in with leave time, that's when we track and record.
Okay.
So we're going with such a different sound with We Walk in Circles. We're waiting until he is no longer, out of state when he moves back home to start recording. We've already written the album. It's completely done. But like I said, where it's so different, I want to feed off of him and him feed off of me and Chase feed off of both of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the dynamic. Mm-hmm.
So it could possibly even be 2 years, depending on how long it takes us to record it.
Okay. Now, it's not very often people make me speechless, but you've managed to with the Allie's exclusive EP and then a song that you wrote after listening to my crazy story, which is, I love that you did it so that it's broad, so that it can capture everybody who has gone through or is going through any kind of turmoil.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea how much that means to me, and I know my family's going to get sick of hearing it because I'm going to be playing it all the time. I can't thank you enough. Like, nobody's ever done stuff like this for me, so, like, holy crap, Jake, thank you very much. And I cannot wait to hear your version of The Chain. I just cannot. Now, you also mentioned, before we started the interview, a band called 10 Years. And they influence you somewhat. I've honestly never heard of them. I'm going to find out about them, thanks to you.
10 Years, them and Cedar are basically the reason that I wanted to be in a band. 10 Years is from Knoxville, Tennessee, and I live right on the Kentucky-Tennessee line, so being that close, it's kind of hard not to hear them.
Mm-hmm.
And 10 Years is unlike any other band that I've heard. Their vocalist, Jesse, he has such a range that it's unbelievable. And when you listen to the music, it's almost like listening to melodic poetry almost.
Wow.
And I love them.
Yeah.
And they're just, if anybody hasn't heard them, I say give them a shot.
Go find them. Yeah, well, hopefully they'll come on my show and everybody will get to hear them. Just hearing how passionate you are about them. Okay, so let me get back on track here because you threw me. So Roses for Emily is going to be Halloween of next year, along with Allie's Attic exclusive, right? Is that what it's called? I don't even know what it's called. And then Walking in Circles we'll hear, like you said, when you guys get all back together. Now, you do not have a website, which I urge you to find a way to get one. It's just a great tool for anybody to have. But you can be found on social media. You're on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are you on Facebook as well?
Yes.
Okay, and what about Instagram?
Yes. Actually, I just made the Instagram page last week.
Okay, cool. Okay, because I'm on all three. So if anybody wants to get your music, that's how they would get it, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Sometime before when Roses for Emily releases, we're going to, create a website and put links, on how to order the music. But for right now, it's just keeping up to date with what we've got going on, and you can listen to some basic demos of some of the stuff that will appear on the actual studio album.
Okay. Okay, I can't wait to hear the song you did after listening to my story. I can't wait to actually hold something that is music that says Allie's Attic exclusive. Like, you have no idea. No, I've dreamed of this since I was little. Don't ask me why, but I have, and you just kind of made one of my dreams come true. So thank you. Um, Now, Jake, you've been doing this for a while, and I mean, you were also in Nashville, which is Music City. If you had any advice to give any new artist that was starting out, what kind of advice would you give them? The
I
big
would say
question.
to find your sound. Don't rush finding your sound. Let it come naturally. Once you find your sound, don't drive away from it just because the music around you is changing.
Mm-hmm.
Stick with your sound because ultimately your sound and what you write is what defines you as a band and each individual member of your band. And if you drive away to try and fit the mold, the trends that are going on, it becomes very not personal.
Yeah.
So I would say keep everything as personal or at least as true to who you are.
That's great advice. That's great advice. And like we were talking earlier, I've had songwriters come on. Well, I mean, there's a lot of songwriters in every artist I have on, but specific um, songwriters, that's what they do for a living. And I've been told the best songs, and I mean, we all know from experience, the best songs are the ones that come from your heart. No matter how they're recorded or, no matter the words in the song, it's just everybody goes through a lot of the same things. Not exactly. I mean, we all have heartbreak, we all fall in love, we all have, unfortunately, losing somebody, stuff like that. And those are the songs that resonate with everybody because, like I said, we've all gone through stuff like that. So I love that you do that. And I love listening to you talk about how a song moves you when you're writing it, because that right there shows that you are doing what you're meant to do. Because your songs, and as people are going to hear, your songs are amazing. I love them. And you can hear the influences of Stained and Seether and Soundgarden and Nirvana. You can hear all of that. But you have your own distinct sound, and I love that. I also love the name of your band. I love saying Evernia. Don't ask me why, but I love saying it. So I want to say thank you for coming on. Any new news, come back on. I'd love to have you back on next Halloween.
Okay.
Hopefully all of you, but at least one of you. Just because you're releasing your new album, but you're also releasing the Allie's Attic. Is it called Allie's Attic exclusive? Is that what you call it?
Allie's Attic Show exclusive, yeah.
Okay, Allie's Attic Show exclusive. See, I don't even know the goddamn name to my show. I'm too overwhelmed. Okay, that is a big deal for me. Like, I mean, the funds, whatever, just the fact that you're doing this for me is very overwhelming. And knowing that my story touched you enough to write a song to help people deal with, a lot of the shit that people go through, unfortunately, is very humbling. And I'm starting to cry, so I'm gonna stop this. I told you I was gonna cry. Oh God, there's more.
In about a half hour.
Yes.
It's 4:21 here where I'm at.
Uh-huh.
So at 5 o'clock my time on our Twitter and Instagram, the Allie's Attic Show exclusive cover art and the back track list for the album will be up. That way you can take a look at it.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay. I will definitely be doing that. Holy crap, Jake. Wow. Okay. So I urge everybody to purchase Evernia's music. you're going to love their sound. I love that they're different. And I love the way they write. And not just because of this Alley's Attic show exclusive or the song he wrote because he listened to my story. Um, Jake and Tristan have this, you can feel the chemistry when you listen. And the songs will touch you regardless of what they're about. They will touch you in some way or another. And um, I know that you guys are just starting out with your social media and your website and everything else. And I can't wait till you've got it all together and I mean, you're doing a very, very good job of branding yourself. Like, trust me, I mean, I found you. um, and I think that you guys are going to do very well. And I hope from the bottom of my heart that you have success in this crazy, crazy industry. And, you know, in years from now, we're going to talk about Evernia, just like you guys talk about Seether. So that is my wish for you guys. I can't thank you enough for doing what you're doing for me. Um, and thank you for making music. Don't ever stop because you're damn good at it. So don't stop.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Jake. And thank Tristan and Chase for me. Oh, I'm getting emotional. I am going to end this. So thank you so much for coming on my show. I totally appreciate it. And everybody make sure at 5 o'clock. Okay, so it's 3:24 my time. So it will be 4 o'clock my time?
Yes.
Okay, so 4 o'clock Central Standard Time. What time zone are you in? I guess Eastern. Yeah, I was just going to. Okay. So everybody go to Twitter and check out this album because I'm blown away. And like I said, I'd love to have you guys back on Halloween when both of these EPs are released. And anytime something new happens or you want to send me a new single or anything, you know how to get a hold of me.
All right.
All righty. So thank you, Jake.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining me on Alley's Attic. Keep checking my website because you never know, along with me, what kind of surprises you'll find in my attic. Everybody have a great day. Cheers.